Good morning. I'm meteorologist Kevin Smith at the National Weather Service in Pocatello with your weather hazard briefing for Monday, April 29th. There's actually a lot of weather going on this week. Most of it is not going to be particularly severe. Most of it is not going to hurt most of you, but some of it may be of concern to some of you. So we've got a lot of images to run through here. I'll try to move pretty quickly and cover everything that might be of concern here for our audience. First, active weather pattern, fairly modest impacts overall. We're going to kick this pattern off with a shortwave trough of low pressure that will swing across southeast Idaho today. It's going to bring two main impacts. First, showers and isolated thunderstorm activity here as we go through the afternoon and evening hours. Looking at all our parameters here, generally thinking these are going to be non-severe, kind of garden variety thunderstorms. So your usual hazards, some brief downpours, some lightning strikes, maybe some brief gusty winds, maybe some small hail out of a few of the stronger cores, but generally not expecting any of this to get particularly severe or out of hand. Outside of individual thunderstorms, winds will ramp up this afternoon across all of southeast Idaho, particularly between about 1 p.m. and 10 p.m. I think will be the strongest activity. And we're going to kick things off west-southwest. With time, those will veer just a little bit into the more west or west-northwest direction. 25 to 35 mile per hour sustained values with some gusts to 50 miles an hour. So not expecting these winds to be strong enough to cause a lot of damage or really be that bad for most of you. But if you are driving high-profile vehicles, anywhere where we can set up a little bit of a crosswind on our local highways, that will be of concern to you. Keep a firm grip on the wheel and just be aware of the potentially hazardous driving conditions there, particularly empty semi-trailers and other high-profile vehicles. In addition to the wind and the storms and just the general active pattern here, we are going to clear the clouds out, bring in a cooler air mass, and set us up for some potentially freezing conditions. And we're starting to call this out because we're getting into the time of year where many folks are planting, whether that's crops, whether that's local gardens at your home. Our official frost freeze program starts here just in a day or two, I believe May 1st at the office. That's when we usually start to consider frost advisories and freeze warnings for the spring growing season, and we may be on tap for some of those types of alerts here as we go through the week. So, clearing skies, cooler air mass. Tuesday morning will be our first main morning with temperatures dropping below freezing everywhere across southeast Idaho with those clear skies. Wednesday and Thursday mornings are at risk for this too. It's going to be dependent on cloud cover though. Again, we're in this active unsettled pattern. There will be shower activity out there. So if we can clear things out reasonably across a decent chunk of southeast Idaho, we may see 3 mornings in a row here with widespread at or below freezing temperatures by the time you wake up. So certainly keep that in mind for protecting your plants and crops. Finally, just to wrap things up here, unsettled week, additional rounds of light rain and snow showers are expected pretty much every day right through Friday. We have several different disturbances, several different low pressure systems working through, and your afternoons will be breezy, particularly Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So breaking all that down here on the weather risk outlook, it's a lot. You can see generally we're shading this with minor risk levels. Again, if you have plants that are of concern, Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning, Thursday morning, you're going to want to pay attention with those cold temperatures. If you're driving high profile vehicles, empty semi-trailers, today is going to be particularly of concern to you, especially in these areas like the Snake Plain, Eastern Magic Valley, down into the South Hills, Raft River region, possibly into portions of the Lost River Valley and Wood River Valley as well, where we have moderate orange shading will be the windiest conditions here as we go into the afternoon and evening. And then throughout the forecast all week long, a mix of rain showers, some snow showers, maybe some thunderstorm activity, particularly today, but we might bring some of that back by the time we get out toward Wednesday or Thursday. We'll talk about that here in the days ahead. But generally, light impacts for the most of the population here as we watch all of this unsettled weather throughout the week. And you can see quite a bit of snow shower activity here painted into most of our zones. I'll show you the accumulations here in a moment. Generally, we're not expecting that to be particularly impactful to travel. Temperatures will be just cold enough in many areas, particularly during the overnights and mornings, that will be our dominant precipitation type, but accumulations will be very hard to come by and will generally be confined to higher elevation areas. Okay, stepping through some additional graphics here. Watches, warnings, and advisories. We have a few out. First, brown shading. This is the area where we have wind advisories in effect. Those stretch from Boise down through the Magic Valley and right up the Snake Plain corridor, also into the Arco and Mackey area, down across the Raft River region, and into the Wood River Valley. The whole region, I should say, will be breezy today, but the windiest conditions, and I'll show you that graphically here in just a moment, will be in this advisory area. If you're headed up towards Salmon, we do have a few areas that are under winter weather advisories. This is where slightly higher snow accumulations and maybe some slick spots on the roads could be encountered, but you can see as you get south toward Chalice and Stanley and down across the rest of our southeast Idaho forecast area here, not expecting major travel issues. And then our flood warnings continue along the Portneuf River as well, from near Chesterfield Reservoir all the way down through the Pocatello area until further notice. Satellite loop this morning, you're actually going to start out mostly clear for most of southeast Idaho. You will see some sunshine for portions of the day today before we start to bring in some of those showers and thunderstorms with afternoon heating here, particularly as you get after about 1 o'clock. Radar loop is quiet this morning as well. Had a couple showers earlier during our overnight shift here, but things nice and quiet for everyone waking up here for your Monday morning. Low temperatures this morning, generally above freezing down in most of our main agricultural zones here from the eastern Magic Valley up the Snake Plain. Certainly colder in the eastern highlands, as you can see here, and also across portions of the Central Mountains. We'll look at the colder temperatures, the more concerning temperatures here in just a moment as we go forward. High temperatures today, very similar to yesterday, within a few degrees, generally getting into the mid-50s to about 60 degrees expected for your highest readings here from Burley and Oakley through Pocatello up to Idaho Falls, and certainly colder spots coming in colder like Stanley at 44, Island Park at 49 this afternoon. Here's a look at those winds. So over here on the left, we have sustained winds, again, starting west-southwest and then trending west-northwest as we get into this evening. Widespread values, 25 to about 35 miles an hour, and certainly some higher spots here, higher values as you get into the terrain, particularly across the Central Mountains and, of course, out over the Arco Desert and INL. And over here on the right, these are maximum wind gusts that we're expecting this afternoon and evening. And you can see most of the region here is gusting over 30. Areas in red gusting over 40 miles an hour, and we may see a few spots hit 50 for their highest wind gusts again this afternoon and this evening. And I think those highest gusts will generally be between about 1 p.m. and 10 p.m. for most areas. Not expecting severe weather today, as we mentioned with our key points. These should be more garden variety thunderstorms, but this map does show a nice look at the areas most favorable. May not see a ton of activity here in the eastern Magic Valley down into Cassia County, but most of the rest of the region will have a risk of seeing showers and a few of those isolated thunderstorms starting this afternoon. Stepping ahead to Tuesday, here's where we start to bring in some colder low temperatures and some concern for plants and crops. Over here on the left, morning low temperatures, you can see everyone across the entire region is expected to be below freezing. Particularly with clearing skies and that colder air mass coming in. And that's going to lead to cooler high temperatures too as we move over here to the right image. Values only getting up into the mid-40s to low to mid-50s depending on your location. So taking about 5 to 10 degrees off the readings that we're expecting today. We'll be breezy again on Tuesday and actually Wednesday as well, but we'll just show Tuesday here as we step into our week. Here's sustained wind values out of generally the west here on the left. And over here on the right, you can see wind gusts coming in about 30 to 35 miles an hour for most areas. We'll have to keep an eye out here toward Arco, the Arco Desert region, up toward Howe. We may have some real estate there that may need another wind advisory as we go into Tuesday, but we'll keep an eye on that here as we continue to get updated model data in. Stepping ahead to Wednesday, very similar low temperatures here on the left. Wednesday morning, 11 degrees, our current low forecast here for Stanley, 21 up in Island Park, but even down here in the Snake Plain and Eastern Magic Valley, values near to below freezing. Little bit more uncertainty as to exactly how cold we'll get just because of some uncertainty regarding cloud cover. Again, as you've already seen, we're going to see multiple rounds of rain and snow shower activity throughout the entire week. Certainly, if we can clear those clouds out for even just a couple hours during the morning, that will help support certainly temperatures below freezing and some additional concerns for crops. Over here on the right, temperatures during the afternoon getting up into the 40s for most, but may be able to reach 50 or the low 50s here in the eastern Magic Valley. Burley, Pocatello getting close to 50 as well. Chalice actually coming in a bit warmer, as they often do. Thursday, not much change in temperatures here. Again, some uncertainties on cloud cover, but if we do clear out, we'll see temperatures coming in below freezing, again, region-wide, as shown here on the left. And on the right, high temperatures may be regaining just a few degrees, getting up into the upper 40s to upper 50s across southeast Idaho, again, with a chance of some rain and snow showers and maybe a thunderstorm or two, with that unsettled pattern continuing. And finally, low temperatures. By the time we get out to Friday morning, we start to improve a little bit. Certainly the outlying areas, so the Central Mountains, the Upper Snake here as you get north of Rexburg, north of Du Bois, and then down here in the Eastern Highlands. Certainly still going to be cold, but for our kind of primary real estate corridor, or not real estate, growing corridor, agricultural corridor here from the Eastern Magic Valley up the Snake Plains, starting to see those forecast temperatures get just a few degrees above freezing, so that is good news for plants and crops by the end of the week. Snow over the course of the week. This is new snow from today all the way through Thursday morning. You can see it's not much, and it's up high. Snake River Plain, not really going to see anything, at least accumulating. Eastern Magic Valley, same. If you get up into the Central Mountains, higher elevations, we'll see some spots that'll certainly see 2 to 3, 2 to 4 inches up in the back country. Generally not expecting major travel impacts, even for Chalice over to Stanley and down to Galena Summit. Going to have a real hard time sticking with marginal temperatures up in that region. Even over toward Island Park, Ashton, Driggs, generally an inch or less as you get down into the valleys. And again, marginal temperatures not going to support a lot of accumulations on the roadways. So certainly you may see flakes out there, but again, we're not expecting significant accumulation problems or travel impacts over the course of the week at this time. Finally, we'll wrap up with a look at our flood warnings here along the Portneuf River, and we'll start upriver as we get out toward Chesterfield Reservoir, coming down into the Lava Hot Springs area. Blue line is what the river's been doing the past few days, and then the dotted purple line is where it's going. Right now, we are above minor flood stage, so we are likely seeing some flood impacts and some minor flooding along the river at this time. But with those cooler temperatures over the course of the week and the light nature of all the rain and snow shower activity, we are expecting the river to very slowly trend down and relax just a little bit over the next 5 to 7 days. Right now, forecasting it to still stay very close to bankful or slightly above bankful into minor flood stage right through next weekend. And then as we come down into the Pocatello area, so this is Ingham and then through Pocatello out toward American Falls Reservoir, looking at the river level here, we are still in moderate flood stage, so slightly greater impacts. That's particularly going to be the case down toward Ingham, where we see lowland and agricultural flooding, where Marsh Creek and the Portneuf come together. Pocatello area, there will be some lowland flooding along the river. Sacagawea Park, we'll see water in the park. These are the types of impacts we've been seeing here over the past week or two, and they are expected to continue. You can see the trend here too, though, is for a very gradual, gentle relaxation of the river, those water levels coming down slowly. And as we head toward the end of the week and next weekend, still in flood stage, but we're in minor flood as opposed to moderate flood, and that should help back off those impacts just a touch over time. Again, supported by those cooler temperatures and fairly light precipitation amounts over the course of the week, even with all the shower activity running around. We made it. That's your weather hazard briefing for Monday. Here's a summary of what we just talked about. Again, very active week. Keep an eye on the storms. Keep an eye on the wind, particularly for high-profile vehicles. Keep an eye on those low temperatures each morning, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. If you have concerns with your garden or crops that have already been planted here for the spring growing season. Outside of that, though, more nuisance activity over the course of the week. Not expecting significant impacts for the rest of you. If you have questions, comments, concerns, feel free to reach out to us here at the office 24/7 using the information on the bottom of this slide. And everyone have an outstanding week.